But one of our local master herbalists and pharmaceutical doctors here, this was a quote from her, basically saying that homeopathy is safe. It does not interact with medication, and it usually does not produce side effects unless the side effect is an actual healing response. Has anyone ever had a healing response or a healing crisis happen where the actual response felt like a sickness in itself, where your body is detoxing and you actually feel it? You may get a headache, you may have inflammation, your energy may hit the floor, you may need to take a nap or something like that. But it's important to realize that when you're healing, sometimes the side effects that you're having are actually exactly the type of side effect that you need to actually resolve the problem. For example, when someone takes an herbal cleanse, sometimes when they take a cleanse, you get what people would say is a side effect or an adverse reaction, or you have diarrhea. This would be an example of a necessary side effect or a necessary response because you had a ton of toxicity built up in your body, and as soon as the herb went in and supported the intestines, it needed to get the toxicity out of your body, and it needed to do it fast. So even though we don't love it, it's a necessary evil, so to speak, even though it's not evil at all. It's completely necessary. So on top of not producing negative side effects, homeopathic medications are great to keep in the medicine chest for use as needed. You can use homeopathy in place of your over-the-counters. And the nice thing is they now are creating homeopathy to make it so easy to use that they label everything, they tell you exactly how to take it, and you can use it just like you would use any type of over-the-counter right now. How many people know everything there is to know about Tylenol? Yet it doesn't stop you from going, grabbing it off the shelf, just looking at the back of the bottle at what it says, and popping some in your mouth. You can now do the same thing with homeopathy without the negative side effects and without the taxing on your organs. Remember in the movement lesson when we talked about painkillers and what we're starting to find the problems with non-steroidal anti-inflammatories causing bleeding in the gut, causing problems with the heart rhythm? Homeopathy doesn't cause those problems. And there is a homeopathic remedy for pain. It's called arnica. Go get some arnica and get rid of your other stuff. Try it out. It is just as effective as anything I've ever taken. And arnica as a homeopathic remedy does not jeopardize my organs. This would be an example of one of the most popular homeopathic remedies now because people are starting to shift towards homeopathy. It's becoming, I should say it's not becoming more popular, it's doing so again. It's actually used all over the world, except for North America because it doesn't make trillions of dollars. So we don't market it to you, we don't communicate it to you, and you don't know about it yet. So I want to make sure by the time you get done with this lesson, you know you can go to your healthcare store. Even some of the big box stores carry homeopathic remedies now because it became more profitable enough. So you can find this stuff. Homeopathy only encourages a response in the body which engages the body's own built-in intelligence and power. Homeopathy does not deliver any type of chemical substance. It is very important for you to know this. This is one of the reasons why you don't have negative side effects with it and why it doesn't interact with meds. Because medicines are chemical or biochemical in nature. Homeopathy does not carry chemicals. It carries the frequency of a chemical. So this gets us back to that energy conversation. Remember when we talked about the environment lesson, when we went back to the foundational understanding that everything is energy at its basis, correct? Can we all go back there real quick? And remember, everything is made of electrons. Everything is energy. So an herb, for example, an herb has a chemical, but that chemical emits an energy. It has a frequency to it. And what homeopathy does is it uses a process to remove the frequency from the actual chemistry compound, and it uses the frequency instead of the chemical compound. Okay? I'm not expecting this to be 100% clear for everyone when they leave, but again, it's going to open the door for you to seek out someone who practices homeopathy in your town if you're not comfortable beginning to do it yourself. And you can be a good patient when you do it. You can understand that it works, that it's used all over the world, it's just not used here that much, and that as you become more familiar with it, you will absolutely fall in love with it as both an acute and a chronic treatment mechanism. Okay? So the body itself does all of the healing. No mechanism in homeopathy is designed to heal the disease, the actual remedy itself. It is all designed to get the body to respond and heal its own issues. So the making of a remedy, a homeopathic remedy, is called potenization. So it refers to a method of diluting and shaking the product. And one thing that I also want to be very, very clear on is there are very, very detailed calculations in how this is done. This isn't just done in people's backyards where they're creating their own labs and they're trying to extract this frequency out of stuff, and then they're shaking it and diluting it and that type of thing. That is not what homeopathy is. Okay? Homeopathy is a very exact, very, very scientific process. And we'll give you a little bit of insight into that in just a little bit. All right, let's take our quick break here. Let's kind of digest this information. Let's stand up real quick. Take in some deep breaths. Think about a wonderful thing that happened to you today. And if you don't feel something wonderful happened today, just be thankful that you're here. Because there's a lot of people that can't be here, physically can't. And you can. So that's a good thing. All right, take in a couple more deep breaths, and then you can have a seat. We'll keep going. How many people here are excited to hear about homeopathy? Isn't it an interesting thing to hear about? The fact that it hasn't become popular in the United States it's kind of surprising to me because it works so well. And usually we're a country that really likes to grab onto things that we feel work. And it's interesting how homeopathy has kind of been it's just been squashed. It's been hidden for such a long time here when it's being used so much in other parts of the world, and it's so common. So let's keep going here on homeopathy. So remedies are used for the purpose of retraining the body to better absorb and utilize nutrients from vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and other nutrients. The way that it does this is it helps the body get used to the frequency of those different compounds. So you can take the frequency that's in a homeopathic remedy that's matched up to a certain vitamin or mineral or compound, and that remedy will actually help your cells, because the frequency that's in these, there's basically receptors on your cells. Okay, they're called IMPs, integral membrane proteins, and these receptors look like antennas on your cell membrane. Okay, so it looks like a cell with a bunch of hair on it, and these integral membrane proteins are designed to read frequency from the environment. So the way that these receptors actually see something, for example, if there's glucose in your blood, they actually read the frequency of glucose. It's not necessarily the chemical component of glucose. So the frequency of glucose is what those integral membrane proteins pick up and open up and create a metabolic pathway so that glucose can be taken into the cell and metabolized. It's the frequency that causes that to happen. So that integral membrane protein causes the reaction inside the cell to open up that pathway. Does that make sense? It's the frequency that causes that type of thing to happen, not necessarily the chemical. So for acute illness, let's talk about those things that come on really fast. An acute illness is normally defined as something that is short-lived and should clear within 1 to 3 days. We've all had that 24-hour thing that kind of comes on really strong, kind of hits hard, and then in a day it's over. Your body is very efficient in those times. Something about that bacteria or virus that took hold for a little bit, your body was familiar with. And it was able, through a good night's sleep, or maybe through a not so good night's sleep, but through a 24-hour period, it was able to take care of it fast. But other than that, usually these types of things that come on fast should not last longer than 3 days, maybe 5 at max. So acute illnesses are usually caused by bacteria, viruses, and both of which your body is fully capable to eliminate within a short period of time. It's been very well designed to do so. Homeopathy experiences its most successful results when used in acute illness. Chronic disease, can anyone imagine why homeopathy may not work as well in chronic disease? Because with chronic disease, homeopathy, remember, isn't delivering any type of nutrient or anything like that. Chronic disease is normally caused by a major lack, a chronic lack of resources to the body. So homeopathy can't fix a resource problem. It can only help the body react with resources that it has. So in an acute illness situation, your body has enough resources, in most cases, where the frequency with homeopathy can cause the reaction needed and you can get it taken care of fast. So besides food, it is also the safest and most successful form of medicine to use in acute illness, by far the safest. Usually more than one dose of the remedy is needed to assist the body in eliminating the virus or the bacteria. And then when taking homeopathy for an acute illness, results should usually be seen within 10 to 15 minutes. So if no change occurs, if you don't feel anything happen, then you just need to take a second dose. And a lot of times, again, as I said, just like anything else you would do, go and pick up what you're looking for. The directions will be right there. So I'm just giving you some general ideas of how it's used. A lot of homeopathic remedies, you actually take a dose every 8 minutes. And you don't drink anything in between time, you don't eat anything in between time, and you take a dose, whether it's 2 or 3 little pellets, you take every 8 minutes. And you take it until you get the relief of the symptoms you're looking for. But just go and find that little homeopathy bottle and read the directions on the back, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Or, like I said, Google in your area and try to find someone who's practicing homeopathy. There are registered master herbalists who they work with herbs and they also know homeopathy very, very well. Find a resource in your area if you're not comfortable doing this on your own. But just doing the basic stuff is easy. Again, it's just as easy as going and buying an over-the-counter drug off the shelf, looking at the back of the bottle and taking it for what it was meant to relieve. Okay? So if you experience positive results, but you don't quite get exactly the response you were hoping, you don't get the relief you were hoping, or the symptoms then return, you should then repeat the remedy. Okay? And for acute illnesses, you often take 3 to 6 times. You take the remedy 3 to 6 times, 6 to 8 minutes apart. That's usually what the normal directions will be. So something that comes on, usually take a 3-stage or a 6-stage dose. And it's very, very effective. Here's some of the reasons that homeopathy may not work when you take it. Okay? If you're severely dehydrated, your body will have a hard time responding to the frequency that's in a homeopathic remedy. All right? So if your body doesn't have the resources it needs to respond, you're not going to feel the relief that you want. All right? If you have a ruined remedy, such as the frequency has been interrupted, if it's been in light or something like that, that obviously would cause it not to work. Or in the case of a chronic illness, your immune system is just too weak to actually respond to the frequency like it needs to. So when it comes to chronic illness, this is the long-term illness, the stuff that sticks around and keeps reoccurring in your life. As stated earlier, homeopathy provides no nutrients. So it works by gently stimulating a positive response that will in turn promote healing of weak or damaged tissue. If the body is too weak to elicit a response, homeopathy will not help. So in the case of chronic illness, it may be necessary to build up reserve nutrients in the body before you use homeopathy as a normal type of treatment in your home. All right? So lifestyle, again, becomes really important because you need a certain level of strength and resources for homeopathy to be able to work, for your immune system to respond the way that you really want it to. You've got to have that baseline level of nutrients available. So this is how you know a homeopathic agent is working. Watch for the differences in the usual way of responding to life situations, such as response to stress, differences in sleep patterns, also elimination of food sensitivities, allergies, and even fear. Because fear is a chemical reaction in the brain as well. And homeopathy can help to relieve those types of things. So you'll notice that those types of things change. You also see improvement in concentration. Learning disabilities may also improve as well. So if you're using homeopathy with your kids, these are the types of things to look for. More calm behavior, more focused, those types of things. While some of the changes may be noticeable right away, some of them may take time. Again, disease processes take time to develop. It takes time to get rid of them. It takes time to heal them, so be patient. And homeopathy will be very, very beneficial to you. We wanted to give you this website as a resource. Okay? This company is the #1 manufacturer of homeopathic remedies in the world. They do a very, very good job, and they produce an extremely consistent product. Also, another thing is we have a lot of direction on homeopathy in Section 7 of the Natural Medicine Chest. So check your reference guide for that. Okay, aromatherapy. We're clipping right along here.